Hey guys, how's it going? Matt from Foul Ball Production here. Thank you, Foul Ball Productions, plural, because there's more than one production. Anyway, I'm Matt from Foul Ball Productions. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is my ongoing coverage of every single episode of The Expanse. And it's a pretty exciting time because we got a new Expanse series, got an early drop last night, pretty exciting. I watched all the episodes as soon as I found out because I love this show. I was expecting to watch it tonight, but lucky me, I got to watch it yesterday. And if you're an avid fan of this channel, you may be wondering why I have multiple videos on the same topic. Well, guess what? I'm going to be talking about this topic for a while. A little while ago, I did a stream about an hour ago. I finished a stream up with Draco Argentis, where we pretty much talked about our reactions for the first 3 episodes. And so did that. And now I'm going to do my traditional breakdown where I talk about all the little moments in each episode. And I'm going to detail them, highlight them, and hope the muse inspires me as I discuss this amazing, amazing show. Real quick, before we get started, please press that like button down below. Means a lot. All you new people that have subscribed and joined, thank you so much. My numbers are surging or have surged. I don't know if they're still surging, but we're at like over 300 subscribers, which is amazing because there was a week there where I was stuck at 62 and I didn't get anybody and I was starting to get down on myself, and then booyah, kasha, out of nowhere, surge up to 315. And that is awesome. And I'm very happy to have each and every one of you. Thank you. It means a lot. If you haven't subbed yet, now's your opportunity to join all the cool kids, to hang out with the cool kids and talk about The Expanse endlessly. I do hope you guys are interested to hear this from me because boy, oh boy, you're going to get a lot of it over the next few days, for the next few weeks and months. It's my favorite thing. I'm going to blab about it. I love it. I love it so much. I know most of you guys do. That's why you're here, because you love The Expanse and you happen to like my point of view on it. And that's amazing. Thanks. This might be redundant to some of you who watched both the videos, but I'm going to recap my feelings on it. Wow. I was so happy with those 3 episodes. They were like sharp. The plot moved. They were inspired. They did justice to all our characters. They managed to showcase everybody equally. I wanted to say this when I was talking to Draco and I forgot about it. Man, I am going to miss Cass Anvar. I am. I know it's a controversial topic. There's a lot of stuff that happened with, the allegations. And I'm not getting into the validity or the lack thereof or whatever with that. I don't want to talk about that. I'm just talking about my feelings on the matter. And my feelings are, damn it, I'm going to miss him, man. He was so sharp. I mean, look, I guess I have to address it. If people were hurt, my feelings of whether or not, I enjoy him on the show are not as important as if people were legitimately hurt. I'm not the one to say. I'm not a legal body. I'm certainly not an omnipotent deity. So there's no way for me to know what really went on. And I refuse to speculate because it's not my place and I don't really want to get into it. But just from a fan point of view, I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss him, man. I thought he lit up the screen last night. I thought he looked sharp. I thought he looked cool. He seemed more confident and comfortable in the role than I think I've maybe ever seen him. I think that was some of his best work on the show. I thought it was really fun and funny, and I don't know. I dug it. I was happy to see him. I thought it was really interesting. Boy, oh boy, my phone won't stop popping up with the alerts. I'm trying to talk to you guys, not to my phone. Steal my phone all day. Now I got a big screen to talk into. Big old screen. But that's a bummer. I mean, at least we get, another 7 episodes or whatever, which is dope, But I realize I'm going to miss him. I really am. But I don't know. I thought it was really elegant. I thought it was really well done. I have 0 complaints. I'm so pleased. And I feel like they did right by the fans. I thought last season, the 4th season was, it was okay. It was inconsistent, I thought. I'm going to go back and rewatch it and kind of recalibrate how I feel about it. But I just was left with kind of a dull taste in my mouth, But my expectations were so high because of the way season 3 ended. There's probably no way they could have been matched, could have been appropriately, delivered upon. But regardless, I was with this season. Wow, they crushed it. Let's get into it, guys. What do you say? We get into it. We talk about it. Exodus, season 5, ep 1. Oh yeah. If you guys want to watch along, there's a watch party link down below in the description. Watch party link so we can watch together. You know, we could check it out and be in the same place together. It's fun. It's funsies instead of you like having to wait for me. You know what I'm saying? All right. And here we go. Boom. We're playing. We're rolling. We're banging it out. You know, there were things I forgot about in this past season that happened. Like I really actually have to go back and rewatch for my own like cognition, for my own understanding of the show, because it's like there was things that happened. I was like, oh yeah, right, that whole thing, and like this ending with Bobby and the shootout. Like I forgot about all this. I was like, oh yeah, that all happened. And then there was like, you know, what Holden started talking about, these like other alien life forms or something that are in there every time you go through the gate. I thought that was kind of interesting. That's kind of like, now that concept I have experienced before. There's a book called Hyperion, which if you're a fan of the channel, maybe you've heard me talk about, because I adore it. That's something I've gotten into before, and I happen to really, really like. Lord Thoth. Hello, sir. Hail. Lovely to see you. Thank you very much, my friend. It means a lot. I got very lucky with that one video. I'm happy. And thank you guys for coming. Thanks for being a part of the channel. It's so cool to have you all here. Me and Thoth on Saturday are going to be getting into this. We're going to be cracking this open. He's going to be a guest on the channel Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific, I guess 6 p.m. Atlantic. Yeah, I don't know why I keep messing up the time zone thing. 3 p.m. Pacific, because that's the time zone I live in. We're going to be getting into it. We're going to be really cracking this egg open when it comes to these 3 episodes and really getting into it. And Thoth is a huge fan. He really knows what he's talking about. He's a big sci-fi fan, lifelong sci-fi fan. He's a fan of these books. He obsesses over the show like I do. He's a great source of information. Yeah, 6 Eastern. Yeah, he's a great source of information when it comes to the Expanse. So tune in for that. Check it out. I mean, we're going to talk about I plan on talking about this a lot. I think Jake D is doing his howling howling about entertainment on Sunday, and I think we're going to talk about it then too. And I'm fine with that, man. I can talk about this show all day long. Satisfying, right? Man, it was so good. I was so impressed. I couldn't believe how good it was. I mean, we're gonna have to get into it, man. Me and you are gonna talk about it, because it's just, there's so much I want to bond with you over and like connect and like, you know, share the excitement, because like this has been such a crazy fucking year, and who knows, like, you know, what's going on. Everything's been so political, and you know, entertainment's been so inconsistent. Are there ever going to be theaters again? So on and so forth. Blah blah blah. And to get this. What a wonderful Christmas present. Huh? Yeah, Fat Ball Production with the Christmas logo. Honestly, though, I'm like thrilled. Couldn't be happier. I don't know where it's going to go. I hope it maintains its excellence, the trajectory of excellence it's on right now. I hope it does. I don't know if it will. It will be great if it does. It'll be terrific. Because it's just, wowzers. Wowsies. This is interesting. I don't know. Merry Christmas indeed, Thoth. Merry Christmas indeed. I don't know. I don't like how I look on this camera right now. It's just pure vanity, but I feel like I look squatty, like I'm kind of troll. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know if this is every season or what, but it looks like they changed the font and formatting of the subtitles. It's kind of like what I was talking about with Draco earlier. Like they changed some things in my YouTube Creator Studio dashboard. Like they changed the term video to content. It's like, who do these little tweaks help? I just, what was wrong with the way that it was? Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't change it. Maybe there was a problem, but like, I don't see it. And I'd like some context as to why we changed that. It just seems weird. Like, why would you take the time to change the font of the subtitles? That just seems like work and data and like things you just don't have to do. It's not like anyone. I mean, maybe people did complain. It's not like anyone complained. What the fuck would I know? Maybe they get 1,000 complaints a day about the subtitles, but it just seems like a weird thing. Oh, they did that cool thing where like, because everyone's walking around in mag boots and you kind of forget that because they're not always in thrust and there's like so often like no gravity. You know what I mean? And they did that cool thing where they shoot them in the head and then they die, like they stand up even though they're dead. So they kind of like float like a balloon. It's pretty dark, pretty morbid, but it's such a cool like sci-fi detail. I love when they do stuff like that. Like when in season 1, when the railgun round comes through the hull of that giant Martian flagship. I wish I could have just pulled that out. That would have been so cool. Just pulled it out. But I can't remember what it was called. It was like the Martian flagship in season 1, and Shed takes the ground and his head just evaporates. Just it's gone. And then he's just like floating there and the blood just is sort of going up and then just like splash. Really dark. Thoth probably knows. He knows he knows all those details. He's so smart. Yeah, so I guess it's Philip. It's funny. I heard her call the guy Philip, her kid. So Naomi's kid is working with Marco, the OPA terrorist. And I heard her say Philip, but his name is spelled F-E-L-I-P. Philip, I guess it is. It's kind of a strange. The Donager. See? What'd I tell you? This guy's a crusher. Rock star, Lord Thoth. Yes, the Donager. The Donager. I knew he'd have it. I knew you'd have it, buddy. Yeah, when Shed took that round in the Donager. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, cripes. All right, we'll see how long he's on. I'm now competing with a friend of mine, Vigilante Williamson. I gotta finish. I gotta stick to my guns. I gotta finish through. I wish I could. I want to talk cyberpunk with that guy. No, I can't. I'll stay with you guys. Maybe we can merge our streams. Maybe we can cross the streams like Ghostbusters. If you guys haven't checked out Vigilante Williamson, do so. He's a very cool guy. I like him a whole bunch. He's a good dude. He talks about a lot of cool stuff. Yeah. Cyberpunk's another thing. What a week. What a week. A lot going on right now. Got the Expanse dropping. Got the most anticipated video game in history coming out. Big day for science fiction nerds. I tell you. And I am one. Got the intro. Yeah, Thoth, we got to talk about that. We'll talk about Cyberpunk, man. I'll give you my thoughts and stuff. I
have lots of things to say, and they're not all positive.
They changed the intro a little bit this year, which I kind of like. And there was something in the trailer that I speculated on, which I'm glad to see is paying off, is that because Avasarala is on Luna now, we get to see her. We get to see the Luna compound, right? We get to see all the different buildings and how like Luna's built up. And I'm like, that's so cool. Like we have not really spent any time on Luna throughout this show. And I'm glad to see that we get to. And they're showing like in the intro, they have like all the ring gate portals and stuff like that. I think I mentioned it to Draco. It's just, I really wish we were checking out some more alien planets though. You know what I mean? Like if we have kind of access to the universe almost infinitely, like, can we go see some of those places, please? Like, are there like animals there? Are there fruits and vegetables? Like, what are these worlds like? Like, are there civilizations? Are there remnants of civilizations? Like, I have so many questions and they don't really get into it. They're like, and also this terrorist in the belt. And you're like, that is really, really, really interesting. Like so interesting. But like, I don't think it's quite as interesting as potential alien life. So could we check that out, please? But, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Or count your blessings, I think is what I'm trying to say. I have this excellent show. Don't try to Alien Worlds, maybe season 6. God willing, Thoth. God willing. Yeah, maybe. No, I don't know what they're doing with the seasons. I don't know how they're ending it. I will not speculate. And like I said, I'm trying to be, I realize I should be grateful for what we do have, which is so good. feels like vintage Expanse to me. This feels like the show that I know and remember. Season 4 felt like a little like the continuing adventures of the Rocinante. It didn't feel quite like the show. Not saying it was bad. It just, I don't know. There's something off about it to me. Just a little like, a little off key. You're like, that's close. That's almost it, but that's not quite it. Whereas this so far, like these 3 episodes felt like vintage Expanse. It felt like everything was kicking. I don't know though. I want to say this, and it's a little controversial, and I don't mean it to be mean, but I am growing less and less interested in Naomi. I don't like align with her motivations anymore. I don't find her interesting. It could be that she changed her look. I know that's superficial as fuck, but I just like I don't feel as interested in her anymore. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. I kind of, maybe me and Thoth will chop that up on Saturday, but I just don't care. I feel bad. I feel bad that I don't care, but I just find myself caring less. Yes, we did, Lord Thoth. Yes, we did. And I was thrilled. If you don't know, Kara G is my boo. I love her so much. I love her and I love Drummer, and it's like one of my favorite things on this show. And to get a little glimpse of her was quite the treat. Quite the treat. And I am a big old fan of hers. Yeah. I don't know why. I found that it started, I think, last season. I kind of felt less interested in Naomi, and now I'm kind of like, I just don't care. So I don't want to just get through these scenes. You know, I don't know if it has something to do with how political she is in her social media. She's so political on her social media. Oh my God, I don't follow her. I couldn't watch it. I was like, okay, enough. I'm just not interested. And then she like, I don't know. She moderated the New York Comic-Con panel and then was just saying some like political stuff that I could have given a shit less about. Like, it's not, I don't want modern world politics in my escapist fiction. I don't. No one does. Okay. Except for only the zealots who completely agree with you. And even them, I think they get bored with it. Like, it's, stop doing that. And hey, I think we're fortunate in that this show hasn't. This show is so elegant at not doing that. It's amazing how they can have these, like, they can touch really close to things where you think they're going to go in a certain way and you're like waiting for them to do it and you're rolling your eyes, but then they don't. You're like, fuck, wow. That is so impressive. I think the only, I've highlighted it enough. I'm going to let it go. Let that go. Float away. Not going to be negative. I'm taking Draco's advice and I'm focusing on the positives. That's how we help. Not destroying what we hate, but saving what we love. Oh, everyone loves that line from The Last Jedi. That is one of people's favorite moments in Star Wars history. She's the best. Oh, golly, I'm all over the place. Little loopy. I just feel good to be back with you guys, man. I really do. I feel kind of high on it. I haven't streamed and seen anybody in like over a week, and I miss it. I'm happy to be back. Talking Expanse. So I kind of feel like oxygenated, a little high. Fucking Steven Strait, dude. He just makes me feel terrible about my body, because we have like a similar build. So I just feel I'm like, I don't look like that with my shirt off, and he's always so yoked and just like cut. I'm like, I should work out more. It's always very, very frustrating because like Amos is huge, right? But I'm never going to be huge like that. Like he's a behemoth. So that doesn't make me feel threatened or insecure. But Steven Strait's physique does. It's like, God, because I could have that, but I don't. It's like, it's a reflection on me. Oh. Yes, I am not even going to try to pronounce your name. I'm going to call you Az. Yeah, I know they won't. I know I made a video about that. And Hale as well. Yeah, they're not getting into it. And the thing that I noticed, because I titled my video Canceled, And boy, oh boy, a lot of people took issue with that. They comment after comment how it's not canceled, the storyline's ending, like, okay, semantics. But I guess the point is that the creators, they're ending it like, this is the goal. This is what we wanted. This is where we're going to end the story, which is like, okay, weird that you'd stop 3 books short though. Like, that seems weird to me. Like, you have like 7, 8, 9, like, I know there's a big time jump and stuff, but it's like, you did write them. Like, I feel like the show has only made the fan base bigger. So why would you stop there? But they could just be tired of it. If you're just dealing with the same story for, several decades, you might just be like, I want to do new things. I want to do a fantasy book. I want to do a crime drama. Who knows? Look, if the rest of the episodes that they give us are anywhere near as good as these first 3, I will have no complaints. Because that's the thing about The Expanse. They have not done us wrong at all. Like, season 4 is a little inconsistent, but it's not bad. And it's definitely not woke. It's good. Like, it's like, there was times where I'm like, maybe. But like, the only question mark is, what's the future going to hold? We don't know, and that's the only reason why we're even like anxious or, and it's not the creators. It's not like anyone involved with this show has let us down whatsoever. We're just so used to being like, beaten as fans. We're like, oh, you're probably going to fuck this up. Right. And you're going to treat us poorly and ignore our requests. Like, to honor like what the show is. And like, so we're just so like, are they going to do it? Please don't do it. Don't. And like, they didn't for 3 episodes. And I mean, they've got a better track record than most IPs. So let's be optimistic. Let's be hopeful that they're going to really stick the landing with these next, what's it going to be, like 17 episodes? That's a lot. Do you know how much work goes into 1 hour of television? I've been writing a pilot for like 4 years. And that's it. Like, I've developed some of the story, but like, I'm writing the pilot we're still tweaking. I mean, I'm a bit of a procrastinator, but regardless, like, that's how much work went into 1 friggin' hour of TV. They write 10 a year or more. It's amazing. And they shoot it and they like, make it in post-production. It's pretty remarkable we get anything, honestly. But that's why it's even more remarkable how much they fuck it up. It's like, you'd think you put all this work into it. You'd want to make it good. You wouldn't want to alienate your audience and, make it shit. But oh boy, it's almost like stop being pessimistic. Not being pessimistic. I'm being positive. I'm happy. I got new Expanse episodes. I know. That's what I was saying. Easton? How do you pronounce that? Because that's an I, right? Iustins. Anyway, yeah, no, I think we're all collectively holding our breath, and I mean, they really gave us something delightful with these first 3 episodes. Like, it's so good. Like, I think we're just hoping it maintains this arc, and it feels like The Expanse. It feels like The Expanse. Here, Lord Thoth. See, that's the positive attitude, right? We bitch and moan about when they mess up our IPs and they take things from us and we don't like it. We have to make sure we are as equally celebratory of the good things so that they get the positive reinforcement as well, so they understand when it works and why, you know what I mean? It's we are responding to this, I think, very authentically. And I think also the mark of something really excellent is its sustainability, like how long it lasts. You know what I mean? Like, people will clamor about how much they love The Boys, but I would be surprised if in 10 years people are still like obsessed with The Boys and love The Boys. You know what I mean? But you could say that like this show, 2015, we're 5 years. I'm as passionate. Well, I haven't been a fan for that long though, so that's not a fair comparison. But I just feel like this show has got a much more passionate audience that's stuck around it and sticks with it. And I think that's really the indication of something excellent, is how long the fans like stay and the fan base like sticks around. I mean, that's why some of these IPs are so profitable. I mean, when did Star Trek start? The 60s? Even though it's garbage now, it's still a marketable name. I mean, they're doing everything they can to destroy that. But regardless, it's like there's still money attached to it. Boys season 1, season 2, agonizing. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even finish season 2 because I got way more entertainment out of like watching like the EFAP about it. That was great. Or just like, Gary and everybody destroying it. Like that's way more fun for me. Like I'm not the type of guy who can like watch something that's bad and like get pleasure out of it. Like it hurts, especially if I'm like connected to it in any way. I'm not like, this isn't fun for me. It's very painful. So I don't do that. So yeah, I didn't even think season 1 was that great anyway. It was okay. It was fine. It's kind of like the Umbrella Academy. It's like the books are so much better. It's like, yeah, this is a good adaptation, but it's nothing like the book. This sequence, I want to talk about this sequence. This is holy shit. Wes Chatham, Amos, losing his shit on those 4-belter like racketeers, those like hustlers. That was intense, man. That was so primal. Like when he's banging that guy's head on whatever piece of metal, the look in his eyes, pause that and look at it. It's scary. It's like looking at like Brock Lesnar when he's going to fight and he gets that crazy look. Ooh. Of the first 3 episodes, what's my favorite scene? I don't know, man. That's hard to say because I haven't really digested it yet. Like I just watched it last night. There were some amazing lines though. Like there was like one line that I was talking about Draco with a guy, Fred Johnson's new right-hand man says to him that you think everybody who's an underdog is like a winner or like you think every like is a good. I'm paraphrasing the line terribly, but it was such a great line about how underdogs are not necessarily good or not necessarily righteous. And I was like, whoa, that was genius. Like that stuck with me. That was like insight in life. Really blown away by that line. It was so good. There were some real bangers this year. Real bangers. Favorites? I don't know. I can't. I don't know. I can get back to you on it, but right now, man, I honestly don't know. Like, it's still just dancing in my head, But I'm gonna be talking about it over the next few days a whole lot. So maybe I can come up with it. If you stick around the chat, I'll answer. I will if I think about it. Yeah, but I kind of like the way they did that. Like I like that Amos, but not every underdog is a good guy. I mean, what a great line. What genius that is. That is so insightful because it's like, yeah, you think automatically they're like on the down, like it makes them good, but it's like not really. Like that's kind of like judgment or like patronization. It's like you're not judging them under this and the same qualifications you would other people. It's really, and I was like, motherfucker, that is insightful. I feel like most people have probably been guilty of that. That was genius. But back to the Amos fight. Yeah, he took them apart, man. But it was like I didn't quite understand. I like the way they did it. I like the way that it was a flashback. You see him all bloody, and I'm like, oh, we're not going to see it. But then they cut back to it like every once in a while, and you just see like him like, like that was awesome. And then to find out that that woman Lydia died, or at least to be reminded of that. I mean, I'm sure that they covered that last season. Was like, oh, that's why he did that. Like he just took out like his rage on those 4 guys. It's like, oh, cool. That was really cool. Yeah, you think if someone's an underdog, that means they're a good guy. Great line. Brilliant. This show, man. God, there were some great lines in this. There was one where Fred Johnson was talking to Holden and saying, like, believe it or not, the world doesn't revolve around you. Just like, it's so funny that so many people's like motivations and actions, like we really do feel like that sometimes. I don't know what it is. It's just like whatever that's going on up here is like, because it's your relationship to the whole world. So it does feel like you are the world, but it's like, no, the world will go on without you. Like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm just like one little grain of sand on the beach. Oh, this show rules. I like that Alex has the Razorback. Does anyone else think that's cool? I think it's dope. It's I think it's fun that like he's got the Razorback, and it's like that's a cool like ship for him to have. You know what I mean? Because it's like always been this like hot, cool badass ship that they have, and then for Alex to have it is kind of like his little personal craft is pretty cool. Lord Thoth, float to the top or sink to the bottom. Everything in the middle is the churn. Yep. Poetry. I mean, the lines in this show, it's poetic. I mean, it's just so insightful. And he's been saying that to Churn, you know, for a long time. For him to yeah, it's the way they layer that shit in there. And they never preach. Like, I'm so impressed with their restraint because so few people do. So few people, like a lot of people, they get to a certain point, they just start thinking their opinion is everything. And these guys, man, I don't know. Very articulate, like very skilled artisans, you know? They really deserve credit for that. Like, honestly, authentically, because it's just so rare that they can do all these things well, you know? I mean, there's so many shows and movies and stuff like that you're watching, you just kind of roll your eyes at like little things. It doesn't ruin your experience, but it just kind of like rolls your eyes. Like I was talking to Draco, like there's just certain things in Cyberpunk that just they ruin my immersion. Just like little details. You're like, that doesn't help. It's sort of, you know, but they don't. That never seems to happen to me on this show. Like they never seem to like have those moments that like take me out of it. You know, like where you're just like, oh, that's stupid. Like there's one in season 2, and I've covered it thoroughly, so I'm not even going to bring it up. But other than that, like it's so impressive how they managed to do that. I like Bobby's little stockpile of weapons she's got going on. I wonder if that's like a Chekhov's gun kind of thing. You know, I don't know if you're familiar with the Chekhov gun. It's a concept in literature that's like if you show a gun in the first act, you better make them use it by the third act. Well, they're showing us guns, a whole armament, a whole room full of guns in the first act of this show. Maybe we'll get a big old war by the end. That'd be fun. Amos and the Razorback go hand in hand. Has Amos even ever been on the Razorback? Do you mean Alex? I think you mean Alex because Amos is. I don't think he's ever been on that ship, as far as I know. I'm not sure. I don't know what that's a reference to, Thoth. I don't know what you're referring to, my buddy. Saturday, me and Thoth, man, stick around. Check out the channel, Alex. Yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what you meant. Yeah, it's pretty cool that he gets that ship. I like that. I think that's a nice development. I was like, cool. Good on you, Alex. I'm gonna miss him. The Expanse, Thoth. I don't know if you've seen that yet. The Expanse merch that's out right now. Ooh, doggy. I might be getting myself a Razorback hoodie because that stuff looks cool. Oh, that's right. Yeah. That girl with like the little spiky hair things. She kind of reminded me, this is not a flattering comparison, but she kind of reminded me of that girl from Black Panther who was like the tech like girl who was like on top of everything. Sneakers, get it? She kind of reminds me of her a little bit. And I was like, I don't love that. But she's subtle. So that's the thing. Like even the stuff that they do that like I don't like, it's always so minor. It never affects my experience where I'm just like, you fucking show. Knock on wood. You know what I love too? I was thinking about this, how consistent some of the, like how much they know their world. Like I was thinking that while I was watching this last night and how consistent their characters are and how much the writing is so like they really know their world. Like I think that's why we get such a good show because they are so knowledgeable about their world, their universe, the characters in it, what they have at stake, what they want at any given moment. And Fred Johnson and Holden having this, they kind of have like the same dynamic. Like they kind of like that they've had like it's this kind of almost father-son mentality, this sort of like mentor-mentee. Like there's one, I think it was back in like season 2. I think it was season 2 when Fred Johnson like kept the nukes instead of giving them all back to the UN. And he's like, Holden's like, there should be no borders. There should be no countries. And he goes, that's a great dream, son. And someday I hope to be there to see it. Like that. Like he says something to that effect. Like it's this kind of like more sagely, like wise. And like they kind of have this dynamic where he's like, you're not wrong, but you're wrong. And it's like, and this, they maintain that dynamic all the way through into season 5. and they still kind of have like this thing, like Holden's got wisdom, he respects, and Johnson respects that, but he's the more knowledgeable, the more he's been around longer, and he has, and they maintain that dynamic. And I was like, fuck yeah, like that takes a lot of work to know those things and consider those things, and there's never a false note. It's amazing. Naren Shankar, Ty Franek, the other guy, the James S.A. Corey combination. These guys deserve so much credit. Hey, Lord Thoth, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Yeah, man, I'll see you Saturday. We'll be talking. It'll be fun. Check us out on Saturday, guys. Me and Thoth going to chop it up. Thoth's a really insightful dude. He really knows this show, and it's fun to talk to him about it. Talked with him about it. Yeah, and I just admire that consistency so much, because it's like like I would forget that, you know what I mean? It's easy for me to forget that. If that wasn't here, I wouldn't notice that it was missing. But the fact that it was there, I was like, oh right, that's like how they are. Like, fuck, that's awesome. So awesome. And his advice here is really sharp. He says, you got to stop focusing on the end of the world. You know, he's like telling him, like, you're not the Messiah, James Holden. You're not, you know, even though you kind of always end up in the middle of the conflicts and your decisions sort of save lives constantly. You're not the Messiah, though. Wouldn't that be interesting if the writers kind of secretly like, no, he totally is the Messiah. Like, that's like how he wrote him. He's Jesus. Like, that would be funny. But he's like, he's giving them like life advice right now. You know, he's like, they're sharing a whiskey, and he's like, you got things, man. You know, you got someone that loves you. Go build a life. Go build something. Go build a farm. You know, like, you don't need to save the world. And it's like, damn, yeah, believe it or not, the world will go on without you. It's so like, it's such just good advice for people. And it's cool that like they throw that in there and it's like woven into the story. And it's like, I mean, these guys are good. These guys are good, man. I hope to see, I hope that they continue their career and the stuff that they pump out is on the same level. I don't know how it could be, because I mean, the amount of work and years that went into making this show and like this story, you know. I like Alex revisiting Mars, and he doesn't recognize it, that it's like, you know, this crumbling version of Mars. Everything is like crappier, and he's kind of like looking around. Like, what the hell's going on? I thought he looked sharp, though. I thought he looked really good. There's like I like his suit and everything like that. Looks like he lost weight. Sad to see him go, man. Sad to see him go. Like I said, I'm not defending, excusing. It's nothing like that. It's just as a fan, the character will be missed by me. That's all it is. Don't read into it any more than that. I'm going to wait to share that thought until I have someone to bounce it off with. That was basically just my inner monologue coming out for a second, but I just decided I want to talk about something, but I would rather have a conversation with a person instead of just kind of like throw that out there without anyone bouncing the idea back at me. I like Alex's relationship with his ex-wife or whatever. Like when he comes back, like how consistent she is, you know, how she doesn't just accept him, and how the scene doesn't end like how you'd want it to end. Like just because he shows up, she's not just like, oh, well, you've changed. You know, lots of shows, I think you like they would deal with that obstacle like superficially. Like they would allow her to be angry for a minute, and then he'd say something like charming, and she would then, you know, open the door just so they could get to whatever storyline they want to get to with that. But this show doesn't do that. It really respects their characters. And so she has no reason to accept him yet. So why is she going to, you know? And interestingly enough too, like the kid, the son, I guess back when Alex first reached out to his like family, his estranged family, the kid was receptive. He, you know, said, like, hey, you know, good to see you, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about mom, this, that, and the other. But this time when he talks to the kid's a little distant. Kid's kind of like, yeah, I gotta go. Like he's you know, he's kind of more being polite, which I thought was interesting. You know, character development. character development. It's like it's real life, man. It's real life. You can't just fix your mistakes because you want to. It's not how it works, man. Life's not like that. It's not like that. Yeah, this is a secret. He's like texting him. This part I really liked. So they're at this bar that's like the Texas rodeo themed bar. Oh, loved it. Adored it. Thought it was so cool. And like, because that, like, the idea, if you don't know, and I think when they settled the Mariner Valley on Mars in this storyline, it was, I think the Mariner Valley was settled by Chinese settlers, Indian settlers, and like people from Dallas, Texas, I think, or like Texans. And so there's this weird cultural crossover of this kind of cowboy flavor and style and like life. And then like, like the cultures that they brought. So that's why he's like an Indian cowboy. And this bar is so tacky and over the top. All the servers are walking around with like neon cowboy hats, and all the bar stools are the saddles. Or like it's so campy and ridiculous. It's super fun. I love it. And then I think they did like was it Rawhide? I think they did like a Rawhide in Indian, I think was the song that they had playing in the background, like in Hindi. I was like, that's fucking cool. That's a really cool idea. Like, it makes sense. Like, there's that cultural crossover. And once again, no comment on it. They're not just like, hey, isn't this a cool thing we did? How interesting. It's just subtle. It's like, you might not even notice it, but like, it's there. And it's there if you want to notice it. If you want to take the time to pay attention, to care about it, it's there. And like, man, that is generous. That's really generous, because it's treating their audience with so much respect. It's really allowing them to experience it how they want to experience it. You're not guiding their hand and forcing them how to look at it or what to think about it. There's no like there's no one way to appreciate it. You appreciate it how you want to. And I love that about this show. And I guess you could even project your own values onto it if you wanted to. I think some people do. I think Dominique Tipper does a little bit. Remember her talking about it in the New York Comic Con thing, and I was like, that's what you get out of this show? I don't get that out of this show. But, that's fine. Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I know. It's the best show, dude. So, I know, right? It's great. It's fucking great. Yeah, man. Come back Saturday. I'll be doing each one of these episodes, but me and Thoth will be talking about it on Saturday, and we're really going to get into it. But I would recommend, bro, for sure, like, be spoiler free by then, because I don't even know. Sometimes I just talk about the whole thing, and I don't even know. So I'll see you around, buddy. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. Yeah, guys, that's the channel. I mean, if it's on TV, I'm going to talk about it. You got to do your own. You got to protect yourself. If you don't want to hear spoilers, man, don't tune in. That's my only advice I could offer, because if it's on TV, I'm going to talk about it. I ask everybody, I talk to Thoth, people who've read the books. I ask for no book spoilers because I think that's not necessarily fair, because this isn't a book discussion channel. It's a media discussion channel, like, film and television. So it's not really fair to bring up stuff like that. And, it's just people experience the story differently. I found it through TV, so I want to experience it like that. So I ask for no book spoilers. If you can, comments the whole thing, just leave them out, because it's just not fair to people who haven't signed up for that. Myself included. I don't want any damn book spoilers. You guys post them in my comments, and I'm like, oh, no, I didn't want to know that. What's that about? Oh, what is that? I don't want to know. Just heard someone yelling. I live in a crazy neighborhood, guys, in California. So Naomi is departing, is leaving Holden to go be with Philip. Philip. She abandoned him. Interesting parallel story there with what's it called? With what's her name? Naomi and her abandoning her kids, and Alex Kamal and him abandoning his kid. Kind of interesting. I want to. It's an interesting parallel. I want to see how they handle it. Stakes are completely different. I mean, Alex, like if he, he wants his family back, he wants his life back, so to speak. And if he doesn't get it, he'll be a very sad man. But Naomi, I mean, Philip's working with the terrorist Marco, who wants to destroy all the inner planets. So his involvement in this story has got a lot more higher stakes on it. A lot higher stakes on it. So now, I loved this scene. So Amos, because I didn't know who ship this was when they showed the exterior. I'm like, where are we? Who is this? Amos is taking his Belter transport to Earth, but first he's stopping by Luna, which I guess makes sense, right? If we're talking about traveling around the solar system, if you're gonna land, like if you're going planet to planet or whatever, like it would make sense that like Luna would be the sort of way station between but golly, I have cat hair in my eye. Just an eyelash. I think that's cool. It's like a spaceport. It's like a little like go between the solar system and Earth. That doesn't make sense. That's smart. Lovell City, it says. That's what it says on that dome in Luna. Lovell City. God, that looks cool. I love it. Here's a question. I see a lot of craters on the moon. A lot. And I feel like every planet without an atmosphere kind of gets hit with a fair amount of rocks. What do you do? What do we do? This is a practical question for living on like a planet with no atmosphere, or a like a moon with no atmosphere, or a planet with a really thin atmosphere like Mars. Like, how do you protect yourself against like showers of asteroids that are coming at on the incredible speeds that are very dangerous if they hit? I don't know. Isn't that a reasonable question? I mean, how does that little lunar base protect itself from meteorites not destroying it? I mean, I'm sure people have the answer. This is so funny. So Amos he lands on Earth or on Luna, like it's like a airport, and these two security guards come up to him and they're like, they're going to arrest him. And he goes, first of all, they started it and they were all alive when I left. When he just fucking massacred those Belters. But then he goes to see Avasarala in her office. And I loved this sequence. This was so fun. Because you don't imagine these two like really having much interaction. They only have had like one scene together, I think. And she goes, you look like shit. And he goes, you look amazing. And that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, you look great. Avasarala looks so hot in this sequence. I'm not like really into older ladies, but man, she looks good. She looks real good. She looks sexy. Her hair's all pulled back. She looks a little slender and she's looking good. And still a badass. Still an utter badass. Looking fabulous with her, exotic dresses and stuff. But she always looks so sophisticated. Like the costume director on this show is amazing. Like I love the uniforms and I love the suits and stuff like that. I think they look so good. But she is always so extravagant and like almost regal. But it always looks good. Like it looks like a real clothing designer designed it, like a high-end clothing designer. And yet it still seems to also feel futuristic. That's something that this show, like, I mean, I'm sure it's talked about, but I think it deserves so much credit for the production design. Like all the little details that are taken for granted, right? Things like costumes, things like props, things that they're not the stars of the show, but they make such a big difference. They really help your immersion. Excuse me. And it's such a big part of what you appreciate in a show. You're just not always 100% like cognizant of it. This show crushes that. The costumes are amazing. The props are so cool. My favorite thing is, the guns. The armorer on this show is he's the shit. His guns are so cool looking. I love it. And there was a cool detail they just examined, and I've seen that they did that on Series Station. But Avasarala just poured out some like brown liquor into a glass because the gravity's low. She kind of had to like coax it out, which is kind of wild, kind of fun, like a fun little detail. Stuff you just don't think about, you know? Oh, Thoth said this earlier. He's gone now, but he said he can't wait to see Bobby in that suit of armor again. Yeah, I know. She's going to put on that Goliath suit of armor. Here's an interesting thought. So she calls the power armor Goliath power armor. And I was like, is that a reference to StarCraft? Because they had those Goliath mechs, Goliath Online, like those things, you know? And I was like, is that like a reference to StarCraft? Because that would be super cool. Because I feel like these creators, we share like passion for certain fandoms. Because I'm a huge Fallout universe fan. I'll probably do a video about that. I love that world so much. But they have power armor in that game. You know, it's like it's a big part of their lore. Is like the Brotherhood of Steel power armor, and then when you get to the second game, there's the Enclave power armor. And I always thought that was so cool. And I'm sure they didn't invent it, but it was probably one of the most like best realized and probably most pop culture executed examples of power armor that I can think of. So I wonder if I wonder if they were inspired by that, if they took that from there, you know. Because I see a lot of inspiration from different things. That's like super fun, you know. Like that's why I was talking to Draco earlier. But that's why I think this is the greatest show for me ever, because it brings so many different things that I love together. Like it brings the excitement of like a Star Wars space battle, you know. That's so weird. Like saying Star Wars just stings me now. I mean, like the OST. Like it brings that, but then it brings like the grounded like physics and respect for science like that like Star Trek has, you know, but even more so, probably more than any show ever. And then it has like this unbelievable knowledge and skill set of storytelling, like on you know, like for the film and television medium, like it's so elegant, has such respect for dialogue and characters. Like the fact that it's all these things in one is so remarkable, you know. It's just such a masterpiece of a show. I mean, I'm sad to see it go, but look, right now I get to enjoy it. I got 3 amazing episodes. We get a new one every week. And then we get a whole other season, you know. I mean, that's a while. That's a lot of Expanse love that we get, you know. Although I wonder if season 6 probably isn't going to come out for a while because they're only in the writing phase now, I think. And last year when we got season 4, this had already all been shot. So it might be another like year or two. Probably. I don't even know if they can shoot. Oh, that's a conversation for a whole other time. Yeah, and so now Alex is on Mars, like looking at Mars, like kind of falling apart, right? Like it's like it's not the show. It's not the place that it was. It's just it's like a shell of its former self. This sort of reminds me here of Cyberpunk, where it's like the future, but everything's kind of crummy, you know, which I know is a genre and wasn't invented by this video game. Because I felt like someone has the impulse to correct me on that. But it's like I like that. I think that's interesting. You know, I think it's like it's a cool development. I feel like this show's kind of cyberpunk. You know, like there's a lot of clean, like, you know, really slick things like on Mars and even some of the UN stuff. But like the Belters, like I think it's very cyberpunk, you know. And I like kind of seeing that spread into Mars. It's interesting. It's such a brilliant story development to like that Mars like no longer needs to terraform, right? Why bother? We just found 1,200, you know, planets that can sustain life. We don't need to terraform this one. That's a waste of energy. So, you know, it's not necessary. And so it's like Mars' entire identity and vision and purpose for being collapse overnight, and then the place falls apart. It's like, yeah, it makes sense, you know. All the weapons start getting sold off, you know, like that's like that whole plot line with Naomi, and then you know, and just the Martian vision falls apart. Like the fact that Bobby ended up like getting involved in organized crime was so interesting. Like you think that storyline's going one direction where you think like, oh, she's gonna just fight these guys off and they'll just back off. But no, they kept coming, and then eventually, like, she becomes part of it. It's like, wow, how fascinating. How fascinating. You know what I like too? They're showing like I think they're finishing this episode with Marco. Oh, not quite at the end yet, but they're showing Marco, and he's like tracking the asteroids. Like they're building Marco as a villain so well. Like he has the time. Oh, I guess it is over. He has like the moments in like season 4, which were like pretty compelling, pretty interesting. But the way, like, he still hasn't been like a huge player. Like, I mean, most of the crew of the Rossi was dealing with, wasn't even dealing with him. Like throughout most of that storyline, like they're dealing with all the stuff going down on New Terra. So Marco's like rise to villainy has been nice and like slow. It's been like a nice slow arc, and the way they're doing it now, where they just kind of they're hinting it, where they're building his fear. Like even in the poster, even in the poster, the way they have him, like he's just kind of a shadow in the background. Like they're doing such a great job of building into making him the villain. I think it's really, really good. Well, I couldn't be happier with this episode of The Expanse. I am fucking ecstatic. We have not had great content this year. I can't even think of the last thing like new that I sat down and really enjoyed. Maybe The Outpost on Netflix, which was a great movie, by the way. If you haven't seen it, so check it out. But like for the most part, I'm just kind of like, yeah, I mean, this is fine. It's watchable, but I don't love it. But this I love, and it was perfect. It really, I don't know how it matched up all my expectations, but it did. It did. And that's going to be it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I love all this Expanse talk. It's so fun to know you're all out there and you want to geek out about this awesome show with me. It's really, really funsies. Please like the video if you have not. Subscribe to see all the new content. Like I said, Saturday, me and Thoth are going to be chopping this up, 3 o'clock Pacific. We'll be getting into it. But I'll also be putting these videos out like every day. Check out maybe Howling About Entertainment with Jake D on Sunday on his channel, Jake D Podcast. Go check him out. You can see all the fun chatty chats about media and stuff. All right, guys, thanks for joining. Have a wonderful evening.